Ever since Donald Trump surprised the vast majority of the media by beating Hillary Clinton, there's been debate about whether the coverage of Clinton helped make that happen. Now, a reporter who spent a decade on the Clinton beat is weighing in and getting plenty of pushback. Adam has more.
Joining me now, New York Times writer-at-large Amy Chozick.
Amy Chozik's new book, Chasing Hillary, is packed with juicy details, including alleged sexism from the men on Hillary Clinton's campaign.
Certainly some of the things they said to me, would be perceived as sexist.
And a side of Clinton that most of us haven't seen.
She's quite a flirt, and she kind of loves to bat her eyelashes and flirt with cute men and cute male reporters.
But it's also a mea culpa, with Chozik embracing the notion that by reporting on hacked DNC emails, she and other journalists basically did Russia's bidding.
Every member of the media who discussed or covered them did what the Russians wanted us to do.
That didn't sit well with her New York Times colleague, Nick Confessori, who tweeted, "All sources have motives. The decision to publish shouldn't depend on them." Politico's Jack Schafer agreed, saying the hacked emails highlighted Clinton's willingness to say one thing in public and another in private. Meanwhile, conservatives are seizing on the fact that Chozik cried after Clinton lost, something she says they've misconstrued.
A lot of women internalized her defeat.
Also unimpressed, Chelsea Clinton, who says while Chozik describes her popping champagne in a hotel on election night, she was actually home pumping breast milk for her baby. If so, it's not just helping the Russians that Chozik may regret.
Well, I have to say, Adam, I totally agree with Nick Confessori. We talked about this back during the campaign, and when these emails were coming out, there was a dribble, and whether they were newsworthy, almost regardless of what, and I think the news media at the time was trying to figure out exactly where they were coming from, but were they real? They were real. It maybe had been coming from a different source, but if they were real, no one ever said they were all fake. But I was also shocked by the tone of Amy Chozik's. I mean, what did she say about Clinton at one point? That even where she stayed at distance from her, she felt this awe and power, and it just overwhelmed my brain with how impressive she was. And I thought, wow, this is just like...
That's not impartial there, is it?
No, yeah.
I am actually really fascinated with this complaint that Chelsea Clinton has made, saying, "You put me in the wrong spot. I was home pumping for my kid." Yeah. And the piece of the book in question, it really plays up the sort of elitist, oblivious nature of the Clinton campaign. It was wasn't even 9 a.m. when Chelsea Clinton was popping what she'd been told was a bottle of Veuve Clicquot in a hotel suite. As the bad red state results rolled in, but soon the tide would change. The New York Times actually went back and changed that line in their excerpt of this in the newspaper to say something like, it wasn't even 9 p.m. Several different sources told me before Chelsea Clinton's popping campaign. And when you make if that was a bad mistake, it makes you wonder about the rest of the book. By the way, Amy Chozik responded by posting an image of a page in the book that describes her fact-checking process. She did not defend that piece of reporting. So I'm eager to see what shakes out with that.
That is really interesting. I think I agree that all sources have their motives, and I think it's up to us to decide whether, as journalists, something is newsworthy, and to wonder, why is this person giving it to me? What are they trying to get out of it? And that's just all part of your reporting 101 evaluating process. It doesn't make you a Russian spy. So I'm kind of skeptical about the whole thing, thinking, okay, are you looking for a new spin for your book? Are you looking for a new angle for the rest of us to pay attention to it? I just don't see a whole lot of there.
I guess I'm getting tired of Clinton books. It almost feels that like you're sitting in a room and you're saying, I want to write a book. And then you start throwing ideas around and you say, if I can write something with Clinton in the name of that book, I can sell that book. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of, look, I haven't read the book. I've seen some of the excerpts that are being discussed. But I think we need to move on from, unless you have something that's solid, that really feeds it, can move whatever stories are out there about the Clintons, and you can really move that and it's factual and there are no holes in it, I think we need to stop writing these kinds of books, because we're writing them just because we know they'll sell.
I don't remember the Romney books coming out in 2013, do you?
No.
I don't think they would have sold very well either.
Well, we heard more about the dog.
Let me just make one point about this because it echoes the point that I made earlier about the Boston Globe and Kevin Cullen. The New York Times used to have a public editor, an ombudsman. What a great topic for the public editor. But there's no one there anymore. And when the Times got rid of the public editor position, they actually said, well, we don't need a public editor anymore because we have Twitter. Well,
one of the all-time idiotic.
An open sewer, as John Keller would say.
So, you know, I mean, so this is what's going on. People are hashing it out on social media. Good for Chelsea Clinton. I'm really enjoying that.
Yeah, me too.
And, you know, but we're not going to come to anything definitive as a result.